All right, welcome back. Let's continue our broadcast on the ANC National Policy Conference that enters its fifth day today at Nasrec, south of Johannesburg, here in Gauteng. Our reporter, Hasina Kathrada, is there for the breakfast briefing that will be addressed by the head of ANC policy, Jeff Radebe. Hasina, good morning to you.
Fully committed to this conversation. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you, Palisa. Yes, we're here at the Progressive Business Forum breakfast taking place on the sidelines of the ANC Policy Conference here at Nasrec, south of Johannesburg. Minister Jeff Radebe has just taken to the podium, and let's listen in on what the minister has to say.
In our past, not so long ago, during a joint sitting of both houses of our parliament, where we received South Africa's first National Development Plan in August 2012, with a resounding message underscoring the importance that the National Development Plan would have in the future of our country. And so, opening words of that Vision 2030 reads, "We, the people of South Africa, have journeyed for since the long lines of our first democratic election on 27 April 1994, when we elected a government for us all. Now, in 2030, we live in a country which have remade. We have created a home where everybody feels free yet bounded to others, where everyone embraces their full potential. We are proud to be a community that cares." The NDP was indeed a product of thousands of inputs and perspective of all South Africans, trying to reimagine the future. It is a plan for a better future, a future in which no person lives in poverty, where no one goes hungry, where there is work for all, a nation united in the vision of our Constitution. In crafting that plan, the National Planning Commission had approached thousands upon thousands of South Africans across the country, with a special effort made to listen to the South African youth and women, and as a result, there were clear messages from citizens. While South Africans are concerned about the problems of joblessness, education, and faltering services, among others, they are proud to be South African, and they want to see it succeed and be part of that process of making South Africa a better place. So today, on the 4th of July 2017, the National Planning Commission and the ANC government continues to view the NDP and its implementation as critical for the future of our country, to eliminate poverty, unemployment, and inequality that is still a blight on our collective consciousness. The NDP, on its part, proposes a holistic, coordinated, and collaborative approach to addressing our country's problems in the here and now, with progress across several fronts simultaneously over a long period of time. Importantly, it is about the long-term 2030. In this regard, the NDP's goals rest on 6 critical pillars. It is to unite all South Africans around a common program to fight poverty and inequality and promote social cohesion, to have South Africans as active citizens in their community and in the development of their own country, build a growing and inclusive economy with higher investment, better skills, rising savings, and greater levels of competitiveness, building capabilities of our people as well as the state, promoting a developmental state capable of correcting historical inequalities and creating opportunities for more of our people, while professional, competent, and responsive to the needs of all citizens. Ensuring South African leaders put aside narrow sectarian interest in favor of the national interest and putting our country first. However, we must caution too that we must be aware of the omnipresent global trends and their impact on our domestic efforts and South African development imperatives. Ignoring the nexus between global and domestic could leave us to face the possibility of being left behind. Again, will confine the future generations to poverty and hopelessness. This is a future we have agreed that is too ghastly to contemplate. The NDP was about appreciating a desired future in 2030 and crafting a way to get us there in a better shape. A favorite question at this ANC policy conference, and just generally, is how is the state, business, labor, and all other social partners going to ensure better implementation of our national development plan? It is my submission that the implementation of the NDP is happening and will yield greater successes if we share that collective responsibility of holding one another accountable. As the National Planning Commission, we will play our part. As a government, we are playing our part, but we need more and much more. And so, the NDP is an opportunity for all of us to remake our future, to re-energize our people, and to strive for that future that was worthy of our proud history, that was built on the vision of our magnificent Constitution. The NDP in 2017 remains a clarion call to action, to unite a country and to serve to unleash the energies of all of South Africa's people and to build a better future. It is our future. We have to make it work. No one is going to do it for us. Moreover, this NDP offers a long-term perspective. It defines a desired destination and identifies the roles different sectors of our society that need to play in reaching that goal. Accordingly, the NDP asserts that South Africa can realize those goals by drawing on the energies of its people, growing an inclusive economy, building capabilities, enhancing the capacity of the state, and promoting leadership and partnership throughout South African society. It is therefore vital that as a governing party, we have continuous engagement with the business sector, with labor and all our social partners to share insights, best practice, and what works in respect of the strategies to transform our country's economic landscape. It is our collective interest to have a vibrant and inclusive economy, and this cannot be achieved without involvement of all our stakeholders. Of course, we are exceedingly pleased to note that the NDP, our Vision 2030, has served as a bedrock for most of the deliberations and discussions here at this ANC policy conference under the rubric, the ANC of Oliver Tambo, let us deepen unity. And so it should be. Honored guest, you will agree that all of these elements are very crucial if we are to make a difference in the lives of our people. We need to work with renewed vigor in order to expedite transformation and inclusive growth in the South African economy. We consider the defeat of these challenges, poverty, unemployment, inequality, as critical building blocks towards achieving a truly united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa. This, we set ourselves a clear pathway along the road to 2030, the future that we all want. The clearest statement of intent is this: South Africa must be a better place to live in by 2030 compared to what it is today. Therefore, I wish to underline the metaphor a long and arduous journey together. It was never going to be a quick and easy fix. Neither was it meant to be a plan for government alone. Let me restate, we need to put in place the markers now and for the long run as a journey towards 2030. Allow me to bring assurances to you here at this breakfast today. There should be no doubt in everyone's mind, least of all here who are gathered today. The ANC government is fully committed to the implementation of the National Development Plan. A fake narrative has tried to surface in recent times. It is that the ANC government is not serious about implementing the NDP, or that the NDP just a hollow political rhetoric. Nothing can be further from the truth. My report on the progress on the implementation of the NDP on Friday must bury those who wish to clutch at the straws. We must always be guided by obtaining truth from facts. Allow me then just a moment to pause and to recognize one who was born in the Eastern Cape in Bizana. Had he lived in the 27th of April 2017, we have all danced to celebrate the centenary of a teacher, lawyer, national chairperson, and the president of the ANC, Oliver Reginald Tambo. Tambo's words ring loud and clear in our ears, which he uttered almost 30 years ago at the University of Georgetown in 1987. This is what he said: using the power you derive from the discovery of the truth about racism in South Africa, you will help us to remake our part of the world into a corner of the globe on which all of humanity can be proud. We have our marching orders from that clarion call. It is to remake our part of the world into a corner of the globe on which all of humanity can be proud. Honored guest, we have proven over the last while that where there is trust and confidence, rating agencies tend to give us the benefit of their goodwill. We should have no doubt that part of the task at hand is about forging an entirely new social compact. Both leadership in government, in our governing party, the ANC, have openly committed to improving business and investor confidence in South Africa. The importance of this should not be underestimated. For us, this is particularly important because the country, as the NDP, our Vision 2030 argues, requires strong economic growth to make inroads and deal decisively with poverty, unemployment, and inequality. The living standards of our citizens cannot improve in the absence of a strong and inclusive economic growth. Additionally, our economy needs to grow faster in order to increase revenue, in order for us to continue to meet our pro-poor policy stance and thus meeting our growing social welfare expenditure. We must not underestimate our own abilities to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. If these necessary steps are taken, we will see the return of that magical twin of economic ingredients: trust and confidence. This will encourage the private sector to start investing the estimated 600 billion rand in funds they are sitting on. Private investment in the economy is now down to 19%. Ideally, it should be around 30%. When we reverse this trend and get the private sector investing, it develops its own momentum. Investment creates greater confidence, which generates more investment a virtuous cycle of development, growth, and expanding economic opportunities. The NDP, the government, has to play a leading role, obviously, in the implementation of the NDP, also relying on the strategic levers at its disposal. To this end, we require all hands on deck, now more than ever before. In this regard, our government has acted. It has ensured that the goals and targets of the NDP are integrated in our first 5-year program, the medium-term strategic framework for the electoral period of 2014 to 2019 as the first 5-year implementation program of the NDP. I want to ask and reflect on what more the rest of society has done, can do, or is doing to advance the implementation of our National Development Plan. How best do we join hands again to advance our national interest? In the absence of tangible evidence, how will we know what is being done by people like yourselves and others in pursuance of the goals of the NDP? How will we measure the success and how will we report on this and in the future? I have been thinking of collaborative NDP monitor that measures what all of us are doing in all sectors of South African society. Perhaps I should ask Investec and other business leaders to help in this. So, this is an invitation to you today, and even those who are not here today, come, let us all join hands again to make South Africa rise up once again. So, this is an invitation to all of you, and even those who are not here today. The NDP remains a transparent presentation to all South African citizens to work with government of actions and also to be undertaken so that we can be able to see the outcomes that we seek of what has been measured towards realizing all those desired results. All of this is part of institutionalizing proper evidence-based and planning across the whole of our government, and also to lay the basis for effective implementation, but more importantly, accountability for all government departments and society in general. Honored guests, it is now 23 years since we attained freedom and democracy, but our long walk to freedom is far from over. For as long as poverty remains endemic, for as long as large swathes of our youth remain unemployed, for as long as the levels of inequality remain among the highest in the world, our people will not be free. The face of poverty remains black, in particular African. The call for radical socio-economic transformation, Stephen Kosef, seeks to address this fundamental issue. It is a response to the needs of our people, and it is a national imperative, no more, no less. Put simply, it is about giving effect to the demand of the Freedom Charter that the people shall share in the country's wealth. Among the top priorities we are looking at are ways of expediting transformation, amongst others, in the following areas: ownership of the economy by black people, mining and beneficiation, agriculture and land redistribution, manufacturing, support for small and medium enterprises. In conclusion, I want to say that we are on course and eminently aware that the NDP sits at the cusp of all of our solutions. What is now required is more openness, more public engagement, and more active and inclusive participation by all stakeholders in South Africa. This, after all, our NDP belongs to all of us. Let us agree to talk to a renewed set of milestones to ensure greater and more effective implementation of the NDP. We must attend with renewed sense of agency to accelerating the implementation of the NDP, paying due attention to the role of the private sector, organized labor, and other actors in society. In this regard, we call on society as a whole to join hands and actively engage and participate in the quest to implement the future that we want to see in our country. We all espouse a better, a more prosperous and economically viable South Africa. A stable economy is a bedrock of a strong nation. The business sector is one of the key pillars of economic growth and development. You have a critical role to play in our journey towards the realization of the dream of a South Africa that is free of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. If business fails, South Africa fails. When business in South Africa thrives, South Africa will also thrive. Let us put our shoulders to the wheel again as we strive for a better and more prosperous South Africa. It is our future. Make it work. I return to the NDP Vision 2030 as I close. Our new story is open-ended with temporary destinations only for new paths to open up once more. It is a story of unfolding learning. Even when we flounder, we remain hopeful. In this story, we always arrive and depart. We have come some way. The journey has just begun. The destination is 2030. Ngiyabonga. Thank you.